I woke up when I was sleeping in my bed from a rather particular dream with one of my Neopets by my side, a blue female Vandager wearing her jacket that I had let her wear, alongside a dirty-ish blonde wig she had on during the time of a costume party. My wife was already awake, waiting for myself to wake up, once I had recently had this dream, since 2 nights ago. I'm not sure about what happened in the dream exactly, but I remember some details. Tressa and Megan arguing as I was eavesdropping when I hopped out of my room after a gaming session. If memory serves me right, I think they were arguing about some kind of incident with Tressa and Harkness, the last time he was in my place the day before Thanksgiving week. Can't really be clear on specifics, but I tried to sneak by them to get myself coffee. And they had stopped their arguing. Last thing I knew about it was in the end of it, one of my kids, Gabe, had jumped on the top of my head, giggling his butt off from seeing me. Shuffling out of bed, I had hugged Megan when I ended up with a tribe's worth of flintlock guns on my workload. Simple enough. Check to see if they still work, clean them, repair them if needed, zero them, the whole 9 yards. After working on the flintlock weapons, I had also been seeing some improvements on one piece of armor that I had at the workshop. Seems to be good at that point, and after I got done with work loose, my Vandager nuzzled me and was being cute about it. Went to get her something to eat. Asterisk size asterisk I was wanting to figure out what had been going on with Harkness from that time period, cause I'm betting it's something rather petty. I thought to myself in my own head. I let it slide, as it wasn't really involving me in particular. With that aside, I had went into some kind of fast food joint that was serving burgers, pizza and tacos, and when I was thinking about it now, some kind of big and long hot dog that sort of reminded me of Sonic's footlong coney, judging by its length but was bigger than that of a coney. Think it's called Morgan & Co.'s Grill and Pizza Joint, and it used to be an old bakery, if I can recall correctly. Mind you, I have not been there in a while since the pandemic started. And I was also going to another joint called Don Grill. Both are alright, but hot damn dude, I enjoyed the ever-living fuck out of their Angus burgers. I giggled when I had that thought, but I got home when I had bought some of the pizza and that hot dog for my Neopet and myself. Believe it or not, I had some fun along the way back home as well. Just after getting home and feeding Lewis and myself, I have gotten through a lot of the work around the house and went on my PC to play through TF2. Megan, who knew I was having this dream a couple of times within a few days, went to ask me about it.
Hey Harold, have you been having that dream again?
Yes, why do you ask, Megan?
Because I want to tell you something in relation to what happened to that Friday, before Thanksgiving week began.
What's up? Because I don't remember much beyond you and Tressa arguing about what happened between her and her VF.
Well, it was referring to how Harkness was acting extremely selfless, and I was not sure if was for selfish gains or if he really cares about her and your sister. She has been rather flirty with him, and I am also not sure if it normal or what.
Could it just be you're uncomfortable with how they're acting with one another?
Maybe, but again I'm not sure, and I am sorry if I'm invading on their relationship.
I understand that you're not sure. But you could have at least asked them on why they have been behaving like that beyond just being the F/GF. If Harkness does visit, I thank you for letting me know, hon. I hugged her at that point as she was a bit hesitant about it. After a moment she hugs back, and she was also nuzzling me at the time. Later in the night when she, myself and Lewis were asleep, I had some regular dreams about what I have been doing at the time on TF2. I know that out of a lot of things that I could have done, nothing else of worth happened the following morning. That was up until I was in combat training with one of my brothers. What happened at that point was something even I know was dangerous to use longer than what I could even during meditations. We were attacked by Legion assassins that wanted our heads for defying Caesar. Nearly beaten our asses too, but I had not backed down while Jake was trying to stop me, so one of our brothers could take care of him. As he was gonna grab me by the arm, I straight out looked at him and my eyes were covered by red, and there was a sharp, toothed smile in front of my mouth, going from cheek to cheek. Paralyzed from fear, Jake stopped at that point. He witnessed me increase in muscle mass, fingertip claws becoming longer and bigger at the base, a line of bone-like spikes coming out from the spine and horns, coming out of my head, but otherwise still in my human body. I pounced the Legion assassins roaring as they shot at me, eliminating them all while I was receiving wounds myself. After the resulting one-sided fight was over, I returned to my normal self after snarling a bit. I and Jake looked at each other as he was still terrified at the fact one of his own young brothers would go crazy like that. I looked at the bodies, then back at him, then at myself. Shocked at what happened before I went for the kills. Whispering, "Oh Christ." To myself, I knew this power of mine was this raging bloodlust, filled human deathclaw thing. Jake and I promised to not talk to our families about that whole ordeal. I found myself snuggling one of my Neopets, a male Scorpio named Gordon Freeman. He and I were snuggling to take my mind off of what happened recently today. Next day was very much normal at this point. I got up and was working on a modded questline in a game I was playing, think it was in Fallout New Vegas or Oblivion. Not really sure on what game, but I was playing loose and bored and watching me play during the time. I kinda chuckled at the fact I was forgetting something relating to a quest I was on at the time. A key for a temple or massive building. As I was trying to find this key, Mr. Justin had came to see the kids recently that and brought along with two other people with him Doc Darkle and Ms. Red. When I walked outside my room, by the time hearing the excitement in my kids and one of my Neopets, I looked outside the hall that led to the kitchen and living room. I smiled as I saw what was going on during the time. I chuckled as I was smiling due to the kids all dog pulling the tree. Megan was coming out to see the commotion and she had out way harder than when Harkness saw my sis in her costume I had made for her for Halloween. I looked outside to see Ms. Dory and Mr. Kyle hanging out with each other. We chatted with one another, told them what happened, excluding the fact that I went fucking demonically psycho on some Legion assassins. It had been a few hours until I was hugged out of nowhere by Mr. Justin. Dory and Kyle laughed at the fact that I just gotten hugged by a former high school teacher as I just flinched letting out a Jesus. As a result, Mr. Justin was laughing as well. Now I and my family aren't exactly the most wealthy family within a community of an already extremely wealthy neighborhood I was in during the time. But we make do with what we have for the time being. Plus me and my wife already are working, me being behind the counter and working at a convenience store slash gas station and working at home, doing weapon repairs and home repairs for the neighbors and commissions. But we did manage to make enough to even be here at this point. Now mind you, there's no homeowners associations, and they made it very fucking clear they are not of a HOA nor intend to start one at our expense, which was good at least, and the neighbors were actually good people, well aside from that one particular woman that seems to want me and my family gone. Not dead, just did not want us in the neighborhood. Let's call her Karen Supreme, out of spite, and considering 2020 had brought the Karens out of their habitats, and right in the fucking while I smirked and laughed a bit, saying that about one person, but she was a total Karen Supreme. Now when my family and myself moved because of someone vouching for us during the time of us being in need, because of the fact that our old place had gotten destroyed without our approval, nor the approval of the people who owned the house. I had received a call from an old family friend about what had happened in the city, had not contacted them or us about it. Fortunately they pulled out our shit to get and we had to get a U-Haul to move elsewhere. Whoever approved of the destruction of that house, the fucking prick, I hope they don't even meet me in person, because I want to rip their fucking throats out and feed it to their dogs. I'll admit that I'm still a bit salty about that, but I digress. But yeah, when we moved to the new neighborhood, it was somewhat middle/working class, but still is mostly wealthy. Few days of being stuck in a hotel or an inn was a pain in the dick because of finances, but at least we had something covering our heads. So I wouldn't judge, and the dude who vouched for us was a total bro, but not in the fraternal way. Looking back, I was told about Karen Supreme beforehand. But I wasn't sure if the neighborhood was scared of her or just got sick as hell of dealing with her every damn day, every fucking time. The house wasn't Manson level, but it was big enough to fit my family of about 13, 14-ish people along with my brothers and a rather motherly Gudra and Dragonite duo, and fatherly Dragonite, so it was no issue. But everyone but Karen Supreme and us got along rather nicely. Someone invited us to a BBQ to help us take our minds off of what had happened and meet the people in there. And dude, it was fun as hell. They let me take my gaming rig with me at the time, and we all had so much damn fun. The kids made new friends, all the while checking up with old ones, met old familiar faces, Mike and his kid, Lisa, Tammy, hell, even Donna for a change, which is good and all. And during the time I was pretty buzzed, and to the amusement and entertainment of everyone in that BBQ during the time I couldn't help but to go for the karaoke machine someone brought and just sing an ABBA song or two. And to say I rocked that with some drunken confidence was an understatement. I rocked that harder with some drunken confidence, and everyone was cheering me on, despite the fact I was slightly buzzed from what booze I had drunk at the time. It was funny, and yet fun to some of them, and they can't help but to cheer and laugh when I put in Caramel Henson and the Snuggle song, for whatever reason. Once I had finished the song I sung, I had laughed hard and they cheered harder. Oh man, that was so much goddamn fun. When it came for everyone to head home, I was approached by Karen Supreme, who yelled at me for being super disrespectful to her and everyone who was there at the time, and I used a karaoke machine without asterisk or asterisk consent, despite the fact that I had gotten the consent from the dude who owned the damn thing. To which I told her I didn't need her consent to use it as the guy who brought it with him was living next door to the guy hosting the BBQ. Yeah. That went as well as the time I was playing Tank Splitters on L42 on Dead Center. Which is saying not really. She basically screeched in my face saying, "How fucking dare you tell him and not me as well? I have known him longer than you have and he didn't care about me using that stupid thing." In which I have said to the effect of, "So fucking what? It's not like you own the machine along with him and I don't even see a ring on you. And besides, I don't even need your damn consent." Now mind you, I was told not to be aggressive towards women more times than I could count, because the fact I look intimidating as hell. What being pretty much almost 250 pounds of just pure muscle. But she was being a massive bitch, and the host's wife was already having enough of Karen Supreme shit over something massively petty, and Karen Supreme was screaming in my face at how I should be beaten to near death on what I said to set me straight, and I should be fired for being an asshole, and host's wife had told her to just leave me alone and just go back to her home. She looked at me and saw me having a look of, what the fuck is her issue? She explained that she has been like this for a long while. Maybe 12, 13 years, if she recalls correctly, so pretty much Karen Supreme takes offense to anyone else but her and the man who owns the karaoke machine using it without his and hers consent and only their consent, even though that he have given consent to them without her being asked, and even then she refuses to let them use it. I was like, this is going to be one hell of a fuck show if she's going to be this petty over a fucking object. To which host's wife, let's call her Tammy, and the host Jordan, myself and Megan, laughed about it, even though I was gonna apologize for the confrontation. She had forgiven me because I was within reason to argue her logic, considering the fact that she knew Karen wasn't the karaoke machine owner's, John, wife. To which I brought up the question of why John just doesn't forbade her from using it and trying to stop her from preventing others from using it since she was being disrespectful as fuck. Turns out, she was John's adopted sister who over time took more of their mom or one of their aunts' attitude and attempting to get everyone on her side so she can run an HOA despite them, John included, not wanting to run one because of how Karen Supreme is behaving. Which, while not surprising in itself, but was kinda surprising, considering this is a rather rich neighborhood, in which I pointed that out, and Tammy agreed to that statement. So, just a month and a day later, I received a warning letter about shit being in my driveway that need to be ridden of, even though aside from my and my wife's car. A 2005 Ford Mustang and a 2010 Mini Cooper. Here's the thing, I nor my wife did not have anything else on our driveway, and it looked like it was signatured by my next door neighbor, to which I asked one of them if they wrote this warning about whatever was in our driveway aside from our car. I was told that they did not write this thing. In fact, they didn't see anyone write any letter warning anyone else about having things on the driveways. In which I did say that I did repair both my and my wife's cars when we had gotten them back from the impound and had to refill them with gas in case, and asked if they can keep in touch in case someone does gets written up about it, to which they agreed to do so. And just as an added measure, I had put in security cameras so I could see who had done so. It did cost me a bit of a fortune, but unless I had evidence, I can't really think it was anyone else but Karen Supreme. Later the next day I checked on any footage that has been recorded, and what do you know? It was Karen Supreme. And she was writing another warning and had forged a signature that definitely belonged to Jordan's. Motherfucker. I said to myself. I soon figured out that I was not the only one who got these letters. Apparently everyone excluding Karen Supreme had gotten these with forged signatures. Then we had already figured out who has been doing these letters as well. It should not be surprising that she had been going against us and even her own brother. Now, considering all of us had footage of her doing these acts despite being told otherwise, she really wants a homeowners association. Oh my lord dude, I really wanted her off of the neighborhood. Not get her homeless, but to have her move somewhere else that has an HOA or equivalent at this time. So during the time she threatened with warnings and liens, we threatened to sue her for forging signatures and making threats to call the cops for trespassing on her properties when we had to get these with effort. She wants us to give them to her for free. Here's the thing, she's targeting specifically me and my family, because she didn't like the fact that I pissed her off when I used John's karaoke machine, and that I have a larger family than say everyone in there. So I went harder than everyone else in the neighborhood. I threatened to sue her harder per forged warning and lien letters, mentioning on how illegal it is to do this and how illegal it is to run an HOA without government approval. She wouldn't back down still, that was up until the cops came in. When they came, I knew it was either for me directly or for someone else entirely, so they came, talked to me, said that they received an anonymous tip claiming someone in the house I and my family resides had been physically assaulting them. I told them no one at that house has attacked them, but I know that there was one person trying to get us off of this neighborhood by breaking the law. In which I showed them all of the evidence I had at the time, in which it also showed Karen Supreme also attacking a few of the other neighbors, getting attacked along with things, getting damaged and slashed or stolen, along with what the others had at the time as well. After she was arrested and gone for about 4 weeks, I heard that she was given about 6 months probation and a bunch of restraining orders from everyone in the neighborhood, if not 4 or 7 blocks surrounding it because of what she did towards the blocks at the time. Even her own brother had a restraining order against her. Not sure on what she did to him, but it seems rather severe enough for him to do that. But with her out of the picture, things were rather normal. I was introduced to some of friends of the neighbors from other blocks. And after some introductions, I went to play some Team Fortress 2 and maybe some Half-Life 2. An update. I understand that I shouldn't be writing right now, since the events of that Karen that gotten removed from the neighborhood. Yet, something even crazier had happened just today. Apparently someone had told us that the Karen Supreme has went ballistic at a legally founded HOA in Miami, Florida, for not letting her in the HOA. Why did she go insane like that, you may be wondering? Well, they had looked at her legal records and found out she had been guilty of harassment, destruction of property, resisting arrest, contempt of court, and forgery of signatures of people involved out of the state of Florida. So they were trying to prevent her from going attention to the people who were in the HOA and the members of said community. Update 2. So, to be fair, John had been seeing some people to take care of some things to get rid of that was in his selfish sister's former room to put into storage in his basement. HM and John had thanked me for at least trying to stop with what extent I could. And he and I had a couple beers after he and I had put the last of her items in the basement. We talked about what happened last time for about half an hour, and he seemed to understand that she and I didn't get along too well, as he had been screwed with by her when his mom adopted her when she was around 6 or 7 years old, as he was about 10 or 12. Final update now. I had been working out some kind of noise problem in Tammy and Jordan's house. They had a rather noisy ceiling fan. I guess the motor died, so I had replaced the fan with a bit more expensive fan that I paid out of my pocket, which they comped me for. I had not heard anything really major and new about John's sister at this time. It's nice not having someone breathing down my neck at every single opportunity, and to say I didn't get anything nice as a gift is not true in this community, despite otherwise being the case. because come Christmas Day, I had recently gotten some rather interesting gifts aside from the money. And Harkness is with Tressa chillin' like very cute villains. And we had some fun at that too. Some rock band, some guys goofing around playing charades, beer pong, hell even an entire karaoke session. I sighed, knowing that despite the fact that we don't have John's bitchy sister, I know she's still out there, probably yelling at some poor HOA president down in Florida. Misty and Megan hugged me in an understanding, yet also in a don't be hard on yourself way, bless their souls. So that should be it for now. I managed to stop a Karen from screwing a neighborhood over because of me and my family.